Set your goals. Have a plan. Stick to it as best you can. Hello everyone, Semi-Retired Bob here. I talk about the proper human diet, all things related to the proper human diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. Today we're going to talk about setting goals and trying to, making a plan and trying to stick to it as best you can. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for stopping by. In case you were wondering what you're walking, well, basically you're watching me walk. Almost 19 months ago now, I couldn't do this. I could barely stand for 2 to 2.5 minutes without severe pain. Now I'm out here walking up and down the street every day. So why don't you help me get the word out that it's never too late to change your life? Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Drop down comments and say, "Hi, Bob." Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. All these little things you can do that are absolutely free help me spread the word that it's never too late to change your life. I am 60 years old, and I'm doing things now that I wouldn't have even dreamed of doing when I was 40, like walking up and down the street every day. It's amazing how much my life has changed since starting a proper human diet. For those of you returning to the channel, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. It does mean an awful lot to me that you choose to spend just a few moments of your day with me. But let's get right on into making a plan and sticking to it. And I thought of this topic just today because I decided I was going to go down. It's actually the closest grocery store to me, but there's an Aldi's just down on the corner. And I'd always heard they had pretty good meats, but when they were in their old location further down the block, it always seemed like kind of a dirty, gross little store to me. Well, now they've moved into a bigger space, and I went in, and it was a much cleaner, nicer store, and it didn't smell funny, so I went ahead and walked around, and they had 80/20 ground beef for less than $4 a pound. So I went ahead and bought 8 pounds of it while I was there. Actually a little more. It came in 2.3 to 2.4 pound sleeves. So I just brought those home, cut them in half, and stuck them in the freezer bags. So each one will be slightly more than a pound of meat to go with my pile of eggs. And I was looking at, they had some really nice looking roasts, big roasts, 4, 5, 6 pound roasts. And they were at a fairly good price. And I almost bought one. It's amazing the temptation for all of the junk food. Because if you're looking for junk food, Aldi's a great place to go because they have big bags of cheap snacks for really cheap prices. But I was tempted by the big roasts because it's like, well, that's not a lot more per pound. I mean, you start looking at it and paying, I forget what it was. It was like $3.68 or so a pound for the ground beef. Looking at the big roast going, $6 a pound, that's pretty good. I can do that, buy that roast and cut it into 3 chunks and make 3 meals out of it. But then I remembered not my biggest why, but one of the whys of why I'm doing what I'm doing with eating primarily ground beef and eggs, with the occasional pork roast thrown in, because the pork roast, I can still get that for less than $2 a pound. The whole point of me doing just ground beef and eggs is to be able to save more money so that I have a better chance of being successful when I get down to Texas and start building my house. And I have a very specific goal in mind for how much money I need to save between now and then. And that means I need to keep my food budget at less than $200 a month. Which, with the ground beef I bought there, rather than driving down to where I knew it was on sale, I'm still at, by the time you add in 10 eggs to the slightly more than 1 pound of ground beef, I'm still at about $180 a month, which keeps me under budget. If I'd have given in and bought a couple of those roasts, that would have put me over the mark, and I'd have come in just a little bit short of what I wanted to have saved this month. And this is just another example of why we have to keep our why right in front of us at all times. Because you never know where temptation is going to come from. You know, if you're battling carbs, I wouldn't go down the center aisles of grocery stores. Because I have to admit, as I was walking around, because the meat section was in the back, of course, and it was my first time in there, so I didn't know which way to go. And the direction I took me right past the bakery. And I have to admit, the smells of the bakery got me just a little bit for just a second. You know, I glanced over and it's like, oh, look at the donuts and the breads and the bagels. And then I shut that part of my brain off right away. It's like, no, it smells great. But number one, it's not in the budget. And number two, it's not in the plan. But I was tempted by those roasts. So you never know what is going to tempt you off of your plan. So that's why I say, make a plan, have a plan, follow through as best you can, and don't be surprised if an unexpected temptation pops up in front of you. Now again, do I think it's awful if you fall off plan a little bit this time of year because it is the holiday season? No, as long as you realize that that little bit of whatever it is you're going to have doesn't completely throw you, into a 30 or 60 or 90-day carb binge, which can still happen to people that are fighting a sugar addiction. So just be aware of what your cues and triggers might be for temptation, and do what you can to avoid those situations, but also be aware that some unexpected things are going to tempt you along the way. Like in my case, the roasts. Because I can tear into some good roast. But anyway, it was kind of a short walk today, because I'd already walked around a grocery store. I walked down and checked my mailbox at the mailbox place, which is a good mile away. So I've already gotten a couple miles in, and it's cold out. So I'm now going to go inside, strip off some layers, and relax for the rest of the day while I get this video up to you guys and watch some more YouTube. That's what I've got for you today, folks. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you in the next one.